Well, Zeta is back in Batman Beyond, but why? This isn't really a spinoff because the series has already started, but why could they be doing this episode? We'll talk about it. Stay tuned. Hello friends, welcome back to the show. So glad to see you all once again. If you're new here, this is the channel for you. You clicked on it for a reason because we go back and look at cartoons and comic books and movies that we grew up on in the 80s and 90s, and now we're into the 2000s talking about shows that we love and now looking at them from the perspective of being an adult. So if this sounds like something you might enjoy, hop below, hit the subscribe button, click like, because today we're talking about the episode from Batman Beyond, Countdown, which originally aired almost exactly 20 years ago today.
You think these ideas are new? Forget it, man!
Well, we introduced Zeta in Batman Beyond, and now we have the Zeta series is up and running, has at this point has been going on for a couple of months, and now we have Zeta back in the show, which is kind of interesting. And but we're going to dissect why that might be and what they were doing right after our 60-second Beyond Bomb, Mad Stan Beyond Bomb, rundown of the episode. And here we go. There's this inventor symposium happening, and we see Mad Stan show up, and he wants to blow them all up. Yeah, part of the bureaucrat. And he escapes, and then we see Ro and Zeta in disguise walking through strips, and they're looking for a doctor that's going to be at the symposium, and Agent Bennett's looking for them, and as Mad Stan's getting away, the agent goes, "Oh, stop right there," and then they're chasing him down, and then Mad Stan thinks, "Oh, this is part of the feds trying to take down an innocent human," and so he rescues Zeta, unknowing that it's a robot, and takes him back to his hideout, and Ro is left behind. And then Ro calls 911 and is looking for her friend, and then Batman taps into that and finds her. Meanwhile, we have at the hideout of Mad Stan, he finds out, oh, this is a robot, and he goes, oh, this is probably them trying to spy on me. So he comes up with this plan, and he attaches a bomb to Zeta and sends him back and tells him, go look for Ro. She's going to be at this address. Meanwhile, Batman and Ro are working to... I got stumbled up there. It's totally my fault. Batman and Ro are going, and they find that Mad Stan's plan is to blow up some building. They're trying to figure out what that is. And through Bruce's research, they find out, oh, it's because the dog license fee got upped. And we see Boom Boom, the Chihuahua, that's his. And it all works out. And then they go there, and Batman is able to stop Zeta right at the last minute and keep him from blowing everything up. And Mad Stan is still on loose, I guess.
It's the only sane solution!
I was very happy to see Mad Stan get featured in another episode, and this might be the most that we've seen of Mad Stan in an episode. Certainly we're learning more about him. We see his hideout. Of course he would have a dog, a little tiny Chihuahua type dog named Boom Boom. That makes perfect sense. And so that story was kind of interesting. I like seeing Mad Stan. He's this really kind of fun character that just makes these sporadic appearances here and there. And so to give him a little bit more attention, a little bit more weight in this episode was fun. And it was nice to see that.
How's my little Boom Boom?
But we also bring back Zeta, and the whole design is more in tune with the design from his own show, and obviously we now have the actual voice actors from the show and all that sort of thing. So this is kind of this weird pseudo, not really a spin-off because we've already done that, and they already have their own series, but I have a theory of what they were trying to do, and I'll talk about that later on.
Geek fest.
But Zeta's an interesting character, and obviously Agent Bennett, and I like the way that they interweave this into the story with Mad Stan, and it all makes sense, and it all works out really well in terms of what how Mad Stan would react to Agent Bennett and to react to Zeta and just moving his own agenda. All that makes sense and makes for an enjoyable episode.
You think I'm gonna let you stinking feds trample his basic human rights?
And it's a nice little mystery to try to figure out what Mad Stan is doing. It seems like the right level. Mad Stan, I don't think, is a well thought out guy and doesn't have, isn't a supervillain with a network of spies all around the city or anything like that. He is just a guy that is fighting for the little guy and going about that in kind of an extreme fashion.
Big government, big lies.
And it creates this nice sense of urgency, even though because Mad Stan is just kind of shooting from the hip and doing whatever comes naturally to him, that it kind of leaves everybody going, what's going to happen next? Who's going to be involved in this, and where's it going to be, and what's going to happen? That makes for a nice real rollout of the mystery.
Oh no.
But then we have this moment where Batman is talking with Agent Bennett, and obviously Agent Bennett's kind of the antagonist in Zeta to Zeta's protagonist. And so we have that kind of established, but I thought it was odd that they have this conversation and Batman's trying to work with Agent Bennett. They both want the same thing. They both want to get Zeta back, but Agent Bennett doesn't want to work with Batman, but yet he'll put a tracer on him just so he can follow him. Why didn't he just say, okay, we want the same goal, and we'll deal with what's going to happen when we find him, that he's going to come back to me and not you, kind of thing, later. But they sort of just kind of let that fall apart, I guess.
That's your department, hero.
So I think the setup of this was good, but then it just kind of falls apart at the end. A lot of this was just sort of happenstance. It was just lucky that Batman found him, and it was lucky that they discovered the houseboat and that they discovered this plot, and all these things just sort of happened, and it just sort of had this great buildup of great mystery, and then it was kind of a little bit of a letdown.
With any luck, he'll lead us right to Zeta.
And ultimately, it was an easy resolution. All it had to be was Batman to go, hey, Zeta, don't go any further. Oh, okay. Why? I have a bomb. Oh, geez.
Zeta, stop!
And then when it's revealed what the mission was to blow up the license agency because they raised the fees on dogs.
There's a small item about them raising the fee for pet licenses.
I mean, I guess maybe that's supposed to be ridiculous, but it's a little too ridiculous that, I don't know. Maybe that's not a fair statement, but it's just to me it felt like, really, that's all that was happening. That's what this episode was about. Just felt a little bit like a letdown to me.
You were right. He's here.
I did like the little switcheroo where Batman disguised himself as the janitor or the guy working in the building, and then Zeta disguised himself as Batman to get away. That was all kind of cool, and that was a neat little twist there.
It's okay. He's solid. Keep looking.
The epilogue of this episode was that they went, oh, yeah, I guess that doctor we were looking for, already left. So this whole thing could have been avoided if you would have read the schedule of the symposium better.
The man we were looking for has already moved on.
And it makes me scratch my head and go, here we are, the second to last episode. I did read somewhere that this was the last episode that they produced for Batman Beyond. And it makes me further wonder, what was the point of this episode? And to me, it very much felt like here they have Zeta Project, their own show, off and running, which was kind of a spinoff from Batman Beyond. They introduced the characters earlier on. And I don't know how the ratings were going. I don't know how well the show was taking on. It was kind of a unique gamble because it was a DC animated show, but it didn't really involve well-known characters or anything like that.
Zeta. How did you get mixed up with him?
It didn't last very long, so I can only assume that maybe it wasn't doing well. And here's Batman Beyond on its way out, and they're going, well, let's see if we can bring some more of this audience from Batman Beyond over to Zeta Project and have one more episode with Zeta featured in Batman Beyond. But it just felt like a weird choice, and it felt like an after-the-fact sort of choice, because this episode really wasn't true. It wasn't a strong story for Zeta. He just sort of gets tricked and used against his, unknowingly used for Mad Stan's weak plot of blowing up this licensing place. So it just all sort of fell flat that I thought, if they were using this as an opportunity to advertise, hey, watch Zeta Project, it's such a cool show, this, I don't feel like does that well either. And it could have been any other character that could have served this story just the same. And so it just sort of felt weak to me.
You are so clueless.
So when it comes time to rank this episode, obviously it's not going to rank very high, and I don't think it should. I think that this episode wasn't intended to be like one of the best episodes of Batman Beyond, and I think it really just ultimately ended being utilizing the time slot that they had for Batman Beyond to serve their next project of Zeta Project. Again, that's something I never would have noticed when I was a kid watching this, but now I'm watching it as an adult going, oh yeah, there was a different motive behind this episode than just creating a quality show, which, I guess it's just all it's a business. So they're trying to serve the business as best they can in this. So for all those reasons, it falls at the number 38 spot of my favorite episodes so far. Pretty far down on the list. It's below Bloodsport, which I know I had problems with that episode, but at least that was a true episode for Batman Beyond, and it was a good battle, good backstory, things like that were just enough to beat this episode out. But I do have this one beating out Armory. I think just because Armory was trying to build a bigger story and fell flat, and it was just sort of a unmotivated moment for these characters. I think Zeta was just a more interesting character than Armory.
Lousy feds.
My question for you is, why do you think this episode exists? Do you agree with me that it was just a sort of a promotional sort of episode for the Zeta Project, or was there some other reason that you think that they might have made this episode? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend, somebody else that enjoys Batman Beyond, to let them know what we're doing here on the channel. And be sure to subscribe and like, because we have one more review of Batman Beyond for the last episode of the series coming up next. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Andy Knode. I'll see you soon.